Good afternoon once again, students. We are just going to continue the chapter number 6, company accounts, in which types of companies we will learn today. Till that date, you just come to know that what is company, what does it mean, what are its features, and what are its merits as well as drawbacks or limitations. Today we will learn that what are the types of the company. Companies are on the basis of the transferability of the shares of two types. One is private company, another is public company. Private company, clear by the name when we say the company which is holded by or owned by the private people, that is known as the private company. In the layman language, we just give the meaning, which is given in the toolkit as well. It refers to the company whose share cannot be sold to the general public, that is known as the private company. In the layman word, the people who have the the company owned by the private people, private company. Company owned by the government company. But from the evaluation point of view, the perfect meaning according to Company Act should be clear to you. If we talk about the Company Act according to section 2, subsection 68, Company Act 2013 states that a private company means a company which by its article of association restrict the right of member to transfer its shares and restrict the number of members between 2 to 200. The following cannot be counted among the members who are the present employees and also the member of the company, and those who were previously the employees of the company as well as its members but now no longer its employees but continue to be its members. Put a ban on inviting the public to subscribe to its shares and debenture. In case of private company, there is a complete ban on inviting the public to subscribe the shares and debenture, and put a ban on inviting the public to subscribe a public deposit as well. Moreover, the private companies are those companies which having the minimum paid up capital of rupees 1 lakh. The companies which have minimum paid up capital of 1 lakh are subject to private companies. So it is important for the company to observe all the above 5 mentioned conditions. You have to take care of that. You have to remember all these 5 conditions because these are the statutory conditions given by the Company Act. You cannot modify, you cannot manipulate these conditions because these conditions are provided under the Act. So learn it as it is, understand it as it is given. If at any time any of these conditions is violated, the company shall be considered a public company with immediate effect. It is important for the company to add the word private limited after its name. Please mark this point in your books. A private company under the Act enjoys some privileges and concessions. Here, the names of some private companies are given to you. The list is given under the table 1. Automotive Manufacturers Private Limited, Cargill India Private Limited, Promus Biotech Private Limited, Destin Laboratories Private Limited, Carvi Computer Share Private Limited, Chirag Agri Ventures Private Limited, Parle Products Private Limited, Samsung India Electronic Private Limited, VK Global Publication Private Limited, Yamaha Motor Solution Private India Private Limited. So these are the various companies in India in the private sector. Now the next is public company. According to section 2 subsection 71 Company Act 2013, a public company means the company which is not private. In the other word, the public company is one which everything will become reverse, which has no restriction on transfer of share, no maximum limit of the number, no restriction on inviting the public to call share and debenture, no restriction on inviting the public to subscribe the public deposits, and the minimum paid up capital of the share capital is 5 lakh rupees. In that case, the companies who are fulfilling all these 5 conditions are known as the public companies. As you know, along with the private company, you have to mark the word private limited. Here, for the establishment of the public company, there should be a minimum number of 7 members. Minimum numbers are 7, but maximum there is no limit. Keep in your mind. It has to add the word limited after its name, not the private limited. In case of public company, they just add the word only limited, Ltd dot. But in case of private company, it is PVT dot Ltd dot, means private limited. Let's have a look on the list given of private company, public companies in India. Apollo Hospital, Axis Bank, Bajaj Auto, Canara Bank, Dish TV, DLF, Educom, Gitanjali Gems, GMR Infra, HDFC Bank, Hero Motorcorps, Hull, HUL, Infosys, ITC, Jet Airways, Jindal Steel, GSW Energy, LIC Housing, MRF, NDTV, NTPC, Oil India, ONGC, Pantaloon, Reliance Industries Limited. These are the companies which are public companies in the private sector of India. They are private people are there also, but government interference is also there because these are the public companies. In the beginning, I told you, as per the layman language, we always say the public privately owned is private company and a company owned by the government is public company. But now you have to study that what the actual mean of a private company and public company. I hope the students who are join today, they will get the advantage. They understand the correct and absolute meaning of private as well as public company. I'm damn sure that you people have something else in your mind about the private company or public company till date, because this full-fledged and appropriate information that are the conditions given by the Company Act, which make us clear that what are known as the or which are known as the private companies and which are known as the public companies. So there is a difference. It is given at the end of the chapters in your book, but I am just discussing it before, immediately after discussing the meaning of the private and public company. The difference are always very much important because it provides us the complete information about the topic in a differentiate manner. So number of members in private companies are 2, minimum 2, maximum 200. In case of public company, minimum 7, but maximum no limit. Definitely the 1 mark question you will get in the paper related to the number of members. Name. It is necessary to add the private limited after the name of private company, and it is essential to add the limited after the public company. Number of directors are 2 directors. Please don't get confused in between number of members and number of directors. And the minimum number of directors in case of public companies are 3. Invitation to public in case of private company, they cannot invite the public, but public company can invite the public for issuing the shares and debentures. Transfer of share. There is no freedom to transfer of share in case of private company, but there is no restriction on transfer of share in case of public company. Private company cannot issue prospectus or statement in lieu of prospectus, but in case of public company, it is essential to issue the statement in lieu of prospectus in the absence of prospectus and send it to the registrar as well. Statutory meeting means meeting that is considered legal. It is not necessary for it to call the statutory meeting, but in case of public company, it is necessary to call statutory meeting every year. Right of giving loan to the director. It can give loan to the director without permission of central government. But it is important to get the prior approval of the central government, as government intervention is there in case of public companies. So they have to get the approval from the government, then they can give loan to the directors. Index of member, it is not essential to prepare an index of member in case of private company, but In case of public company, if the number of members exceed to 50, you have to prepare the index of the members. Minimum paid up capital in case of private company is 1 lakh, and in case of public company it is 5 lakh. It is all about the companies, its type, private company, public company. Today I'm just going to discuss a very amazing point with all you people that come into existence few years back, that is OPC, one person company. Usually we always say company means a group of or association of persons. Nobody can imagine. Everybody just think that when there is a one person, it is sole trade. But one person company can also be there after passing the bill of company's bill 2012. This bill passed in company's bill 2012 in that year, and after that a one person can also establish a company. There is no provision of one person company OPC in Indian Companies Act 1956, but because of several reasons, the company bill 2012 was passed in the Lok Sabha for establishment of OPC. OPC means one person company. Look at the meaning carefully in the toolkit. It refers to the company which has only one person as a member and which works on the principle of an ordinary company is known as one person company. I'm highlighting again, the company which has only one person as a member and which work on the principle of the ordinary company is known as one person company. That is the Companies Bill 2012, and there is one definition is given under Companies Bill 2009. The definition of OPC under the section 2 subsection 1 ZZK of Company Act Bill 2009, the one person company refers to the company which has only one person as a member. Now, what are the causes of formation of OPC? Why OPC comes into it? There are so many causes. The main two causes are, the one is making the unorganized sector as organized, because the sole proprietorship market is an organized market. They are not organized type form of business organization, and as it is unorganized, people don't trust it as much and they hesitate while giving the loans and puts on credit to them. Just because of the formation of OPC, the sole trader got a very good opportunity to move to the unorganized, from the organized sector to organized sector. They can enter in the organized sector now, and people have more faith. People have more faith to join them, to invest in those companies as well. This will help them to have the benefit of all the organized sector, name the increase in the trust of people. Stopping the formation of private company by wrong means, because in case of one person company, they are very much, it is very much easy to form a company like the other companies formed by only a single person. So it stopped the formation of the private companies by unfair means or wrong means. As it is already stated that the formation of a private company, at least two persons are must. Now a single person wants to form a private company, he does this, but he gives some other persons minimum partnership and continue to possess the remaining share with himself. In this way, the private company gets formed with the coming of two members together. Here it seems as it company was being run by two persons, whereas there is only one person who is the real owner of the company. To check this wrong practice of the OPC was formed. Now the form of company, there is no need to join the hands with the another person just for the sake of completing the formality. Only a single person can form a company. So these are the causes. Just because of that, formation of OPC comes into existence. Now, after clarifying the meaning and definition, let's do the features of the company. One person required? Yes, no doubt, only single person is there. Status equal to a private company. The status of a OPC is always equal. They get all the exemption as well as privilege that the private company is having. Appointment of nominee. For the formation of OPC, it is the member who has to nominate some other person. The purpose of nominating a person is to maintain the continuity of the company in case of death or inability of the main member. Just because of that, another person is to be nominated only. Otherwise, a single person can form a company and run the company as well. Joint holder in OPC, the person is the owner of all the shares of the company. But if two persons wish to become the joint holder of the shares of the company, then they can also do that. Limited liability, like the private company or other companies, the shareholder has a limited liability here. Special word with name. Special word with the name OPC is used in bracket always. When there is a one person company, it is highlighted every time with its name. Then number of directors in OPC, generally the number of directors is only one because one person is holding the company. But if need, the total number of director can be up to 50. Meeting of director, it is obligatory to call a meeting of director twice in a year. The gap period between two meetings cannot be less than the 90 days. In case any one director in OPC, there is no need of calling the meeting. Please mark this point, it is very important for in between question. AGM means annual general meeting. OPC is exempted from calling the AGM meeting. However, it is obligatory for the ordinary and special resolution to be passed in AGM should be recorded in the minutes book always. Minute book means a book in which all the major point of discussion of the meeting are to be recorded. In the minutes book, the signature of the members along with the date have to be there. Perpetual cessation, as the other companies has a perpetual cessation, means in case of death or inability of the main member, the joint holder or whether the nominated person will continue the company. Company will not shut down at all. It goes on whether the member is existing or not existing. Separate legal entity. The entity of OPC is separate from the independent of from its member. The company can have assets in its own name and enter into a contract. It can file a legal suit on the legal suit can be filed against it all. So these are the different features of the OPC. Now how the formation of OPC is to be done, that what is the procedure of formation of OPC? First of all, giving separate name. First of all, the name is to be chosen at the first stage because the company has the separate legal entity. Appointment of nominee. In the memorandum of association, the person is to be nominated there who will handle all the activities, official activities of the company in the absence of the owner of the company or the director of the company. Bearing OPC with the name. Under the name of the company, one person company is always mentioned in the bracket. Certificate or depositing document to the registrar, the company, three main documents are to be deposited. One is MOA, means memorandum of association. AOA means article of association, and written consent of the nominated persons. Now, last point, certificate of incorporation. The registrar, the company is satisfied after completing all the requirements, the company registrar issue a certificate of incorporation to the person. In this way, a company's OPC can be formed as well as incorporated. So now, what are the advantages and limitations of OPC? You know very well that the company has some advantages as well as limitations. Similar to that, OPC also has some advantages as well as limitations. If I talk about the advantages of OPC, first of all, the limited liabilities are there. OPC has the quality of limited liability in it. The liability of its only member is limited up to the capital invested by him in the company. Second point, good alternative of sole proprietorship business. Because people public don't have as much faith in the sole proprietorship. But when the sole proprietorship converted into a one person company, people have more faith in that. In that case, it is provide a very good alternative to the sole proprietor business. The third advantage is sole shareholder. OPC has only one shareholder. In it, only one person gets the credit of having the whole company's ownership. So sole shareholder means sole means akela. Sole director, only one director is there in case of OPC, and he has to take all the decision himself. So no question of interference from the other persons. More logical. This form of business organization is more logical in it. On the one hand, the drawback of sole proprietorship have been removed in case of OPC. The last advantage of OPC is entry in organized market. If we talk about the sole trade, a single person is doing the entrepreneurship, that is considered as the unorganized business. On the other hand, it becomes the organized sector, and public has more faith in the organized sector, and moreover the companies also get the benefits of the organized sector as well. So these are the various features, these are the advantages of OPC. Now let's see the darker side, that what are the limitations of OPC. The limitations of OPC are more formalities. For the formation of OPC, the formalities are to be performed more than the sole proprietorship. If you want to open up a startup business on the sole basis, you just open up shop, just start a factory, no formalities are to be done. But in case of OPC, if you want to join the organized sector as a one-person company, then the legal formalities are to be done. Statutory formalities are to be done, that is compulsory to do. Shortage of resources. The availability of the resources in one person is less than public company. Less than the public company, because public companies have so many more advantage to raise their funds. So availability of resources in case of OPC is less than the public company, but more than the sole trade. Unbalanced decision. Generally, in case of OPC, all the decisions are taken by the one person. So there is always an apprehension of being unbalanced. Might be because a one person is not perfect in all the field. So sometimes might be the decision taken by the person is not appropriate or correct. So sometimes the unbalanced decision can be taken by that one person who is the director of OPC, who is having all the decisions. So this is all about here OPC. The chapter we have completed today, the company organization, in which let's recall what we studied till date. We have studied the meaning, definition, features, merits and demerits in our previous lectures, and today we just come to know about the types of the company. Please don't forget to learn the appropriate meaning of private company as per the Section 268 Company Act 2013. All the conditions are to be clearly understood by you and learned by you as it is given. We cannot manipulate the condition given by the Company Act. List of private companies are given to you in the private sector, and the public company meaning is under the Company Act is also given to you. You have to learn all those conditions as well. Now there are some public companies in private sector in India. Just make sure these are the private companies in private sector and public companies in private sector. Then we just clarify the difference between private company and public company. Then we do the amazing concept of OPC, that is one person company. You have to learn this topic so carefully. It is very important from examination point of view, because this topic is added 2 years back in your syllabus. So learn it, understand it so carefully. The meaning you have to learn, definition, what are the causes of formation of the company, what are the OPC, sorry, and what are the features of OPC. And after that, you have to learn and understand, after doing features, that what is the formation, how the formation of OPC is to be done, and after that, evaluation in the form of advantages and limitations of OPC. This is all about your company organization, in which you come to know about the private company, about the public company in private sector, as well as one person company. Try to read all the case study related to company organization also, then concept will become more clear to you after studying the case studies. Now I request sir to allow the students to have their queries if they have any.